The war was over. The sky above planet Zora was full of smoke and ash. Buildings were broken. Fires burned in silence. There was no sound, no life, only death and dust. A human soldier walked alone through the ruins. His name was Commander Rain. He was tired, bleeding, and his armor was broken. He had lost his team in the last attack. He had no mission now. Only survival. Rain looked around slowly. His boots stepped on metal and stone. He could hear the wind. And something else. A sound. Very soft, a cry. He stopped. His eyes moved quickly. He heard it again. A small, weak cry, like a child. But there were no children on Zora, only war machines and soldiers. He followed the sound. His hands held his gun tight. He moved through a half-broken building, its walls black with burn marks. The sound was louder now, behind a wall of rubble. He pushed the broken pieces aside. Slowly, carefully, there she was, a little alien girl, no older than 5 or 6, sat curled in a corner. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes glowed softly in the dark. She was shaking, dirty, and afraid. She looked up at him. Rain froze. He had seen many alien creatures during the war, but this one, she looked so small, so weak, so human. She didn't run. She didn't scream. Instead, she said something he would never forget. "Will you be my father?" Rain's heart stopped for a moment. "What?" he whispered. She stood up slowly, holding a small broken toy in her hand. Her eyes were wide, full of tears and hope. "My father is gone," she said. You look like him. Will you stay with me?" Rain looked at her in silence. His hands were shaking. He didn't know why. He had lost people too, his wife, his daughter, all gone in the early days of the war. And now, this child. Alone, asking him something impossible. He didn't say yes. He just put down his weapon and kneeled beside her. "I'm not your father," he said softly. "But I won't leave you." She smiled a little and held his hand. Her fingers were cold. "What's your name?" he asked. I don't remember," she said. "They called me Z." Rain nodded. "All right, Z, let's get you out of here." He picked her up gently. She was light as a feather. She put her head on his shoulder and closed her eyes. She felt safe, but Rain's mind was full of questions. Who was she? Why was she left behind? Was she dangerous? Was this a trap? He looked around. The building was full of strange symbols. Alien. Tech. A glowing device was half buried near her. It looked like a scanner. Or a tracker. His heart jumped. Someone might be looking for her. He carried her out and started walking quickly through the ruins. He needed a safe place. A hideout. As the sun set behind the mountains, he found an old bunker. The entrance was hidden under rocks. He kicked it open and stepped inside. It was dark, but dry. He set Z down on a soft spot of cloth. She slept like a baby. Quiet, peaceful. Rain sat beside her, watching. He checked his gear. His gun had 5 rounds. His suit's power was low. He had 1 ration left. He looked at her again. She was just a child, but her body glowed with a soft blue light. And her heartbeat was strange, fast, too fast for a child. He touched the scanner he picked up. The screen showed 1 word blinking, aura, activating. He didn't understand what it meant, but he felt something deep inside. This girl wasn't just a child. She was something else. Something important. And now, she was his responsibility. Outside the bunker, the wind grew stronger. In the sky, a small drone flew over the ruins. It scanned the ground and stopped near the building. Its red eye turned toward the bunker. It had found her. Rain didn't know yet. He sat beside her, holding his gun and watching the door. But soon, The fight would begin again. Not for war, not for power, but for her. ChatGPT said. The night was silent, but Rain didn't sleep. He sat with his back against the cold bunker wall, eyes fixed on the shadows outside the broken doorway. His hand rested on his gun, finger lightly brushing the trigger. Beside him, the little girl Z slept soundly, curled in an old thermal blanket, her glowing skin casting a soft blue light on the cracked floor. She trusted him. She had no reason to, but she did, and that scared him more than any enemy he'd faced. The scanner he took from the ruins blinked quietly, still showing the same word, aura activating. He didn't know what it meant, but it was connected to her. That much was clear. He glanced at her face, peaceful, still. Then the sound came, a sharp click, like metal tapping metal. Rain stood up quickly, gun raised. He moved to the doorway and looked out. At first, there was nothing, just the wind. Then movement. A shadow crossed between the broken walls. He pulled Z close and whispered, "Stay quiet, don't move." She nodded, wide-eyed. The sound came again, this time closer. Then something flew past the door, fast, small, silent. A drone, military type, not human. Rain grabbed Z and moved quickly, deeper into the bunker. He found a broken shelf and pressed it aside, revealing a narrow tunnel. Probably an escape route. He went in, holding her close. Behind him, a red light scanned the bunker. Then the door exploded. The drone entered, scanning, searching, yet. Rain moved faster through the tunnel. It was dark, tight, and full of dust. Z was breathing quickly, scared, but not crying. "You're doing great," he whispered. "We're almost out." The tunnel opened into a cave. Natural, wide, untouched by war. They rested there. Rain pulled out an old communicator and tried to scan for signals. Static. Then a burst of code. Encrypted message found. Source unknown. He played it. Subject aura must be retrieved. Destroy if not contained. Orders. From High Command. She cannot fall into human hands. Rain stared at the screen. Z. Subject aura. They wanted her, not to protect her, not to help her, to destroy her. He turned to her. "Why did they want you, Z?" She didn't answer, but tears formed in her eyes. "They said I was broken," she whispered. "That I wasn't supposed to live." Rain's chest tightened. He had seen the cruelty of war. But this? A child marked for death because of what she was? He stood up. "Well, you're alive now. And I don't care what they say. You're staying that way." A sound echoed from the tunnel. The drone coming fast. Rain pulled out a pulse mine and set it at the entrance. As the red light of the drone appeared, he grabbed Z and ran deeper into the cave. The explosion behind them shook the ground. Dust filled the air. Z coughed. Rain didn't stop. They found a crack in the rock, a narrow exit. They climbed out and found themselves in a dry valley, the stars bright above. Rain looked up. A ship was flying overhead. Too fast to be human. He held Z close. "They'll keep coming," he said. She nodded. "Then we keep running." Rain almost smiled. "No, we don't run. We move." She looked confused. "Isn't that the same thing?" "No," he said. "Running means we're afraid. Moving means we have a plan." And for the first time, he did have a plan. Find shelter, find answers, and find out what she really is. But above all, protect her, whatever the cost. Because in a world full of monsters, this little girl, this strange being, was the only light left. And he would die before he let it go out. ChatGPT said, The sky above was turning gray-blue, the first light of morning bleeding over the jagged hills. Rain stood at the edge of the valley, holding a broken pair of binoculars to his eyes. The winds had settled, but the silence now felt heavier, like the world was holding its breath. Below him, half buried in rock and dust, was the wreck of an old scout ship, human-made, scarred by time and war, but still in one piece. Behind him, Z sat on a flat stone, swinging her legs slowly. She was drawing something in the dirt with a metal stick, a picture, a man and a little girl, holding hands, a sun above them, and stars. "Is that us?" Rain asked, walking over. She nodded without looking up. "I added a cat. I want a cat." Rain smiled, just a little. "We'll get you one, when this is over." She looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. "You always say that." "When this is over? What if it's never over?" Rain knelt beside her. "Then I'll still be here, with you." She leaned her head against his shoulder for a second, just a second, and then stood up. "Let's see the ship." They climbed down the hill carefully, dust kicking up under their boots. Rain scanned the wreck for traps. Nothing moved. No heat signatures, no life. It had been a medical ship once. He could tell by the white symbol on the hull, half burned away. The doors were jammed, but with a little effort and a lot of cursing, he forced them open. Inside, the air was thick and stale. Lights flickered. Broken panels sparked now. And then, but it was quiet. And safe. Z explored every corner like it was a playground. She found a soft chair and jumped into it, laughing. Rain found the control panel. Surprisingly, the power core was intact, low but working. He started the system. The screen buzzed, then showed a broken map, then something else. A file. Locked. He tapped through the menus. It needed a genetic code to open. Z was suddenly beside him. "Let me try." Before he could say no, she pressed her hand to the scanner. The file opened instantly. Rain stared. Lines of text, images, diagrams, all centered around one name, Project Aura. Z pointed at her own face on the screen. A younger version of her, wires connected to her arms. Scientists standing nearby, faces hidden by masks. "I remember this place," she whispered. It was cold. They talked about numbers and ... tests. Rain scrolled through the data. It was worse than he feared. She wasn't born. She was built. A weapon. A hybrid of alien DNA and human memory patterns. Grown in a lab, designed to unlock something called the core mind. And she had escaped. Not by accident. By choice. Rain leaned back. His head was spinning. "You're not just special," he said quietly. "You single quotes dangerous." Z's face fell. "Are you scared of me?" He looked at her. This small, strange girl who called him Dad with such innocence. "No," he said. "I'm scared of what they'll do if they get you back." Suddenly, alarm screamed through the ship. A red light flashed on the panel. Movement. Outside. Rain pulled up the external camera. 3 drones. And a figure in black armor walking slowly toward the ship. Not alien. Not unknown. Human. Rain swore under his breath. Of course. Of course. They sent him. Z looked up. "Who?" Rain didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the screen. That man, he had once worn the same uniform as Rain. They had fought together. Saved each other more times than he could count. Until the mission that broke them. Now he was here. Not as a friend, as a hunter. Rain picked up his rifle and looked at Z. "We can't run this time. He won't stop." Z took his hand. "Then we stop him." Outside, the hunter raised his weapon. Inside, Rain chambered the first round. And in that quiet space between heartbeats, both sides prepared for war. ChatGPT said. The fire was still burning when the smoke began to clear. Rain lay half buried under a sheet of metal, one arm stretched over Z's small body. His ears rang. But he was alive. She was too. He could feel her breathing. The ship was in ruins now. The fight hadn't lasted long. It never did with him. The man in black armor wasn't here to talk. He came to end things. Rain pushed the metal off and stood up slowly, bruised and limping. Z sat up beside him, her hands shaking. A long cut ran down her arm, glowing faintly blue, but she didn't cry. He almost took me, she said. Rain didn't respond. His eyes were locked on the body across the room, or what was left of it. The armored man, his old war brother, was still breathing, barely. His helmet was cracked open, revealing a bloodied face with eyes full of fire. Rain walked over. You knew what she was, the man coughed, and you still chose her. I didn't choose her, Rain said. She chose me. The man smiled, blood on his teeth. Then you're a bigger fool than I thought. A small device blinked. On his belt, Rain recognized it instantly, a tracker. Before he could react, the man pressed it. Too late, he whispered. They're coming, and this time you won't be able to stop them. Then he stopped breathing. Rain grabbed the device and smashed it under his boot. But the signal was already out. Z walked up beside him. I felt his fear, she said softly. He wasn't afraid of you. He was afraid of me. Rain looked at her. Good. Let them. B. He didn't mean it as a threat. He meant it as a promise. They couldn't stay here. Not anymore. Before leaving, Rain returned to the damaged control panel. One last message had uploaded before the power core failed. A single sentence. The core mind is awake. He didn't know what it meant yet, but she did. They built me to connect. To it, Z said, her voice quiet. It's not just technology. It's alive. It remembers everything. All of their wars. All of their fears. I can feel it ... calling me. Rain grabbed supplies quickly. Ammo, rations, a small energy shield. We need to find it before they do, he said. Z looked toward the east. It's not far. Can you take us there? I don't know the way, she said. But my mind does. Rain nodded. That would have to be enough. They left. The ship before the next wave arrived. By nightfall, they were climbing into the hills. The stars above them flickered unnaturally, as if something massive was moving in orbit. Z paused once to look back. Why did you stay with me? She asked. Even after you knew what I am? Rain looked forward. The wind caught his coat. His voice was low, steady. Because when I lost my daughter, I gave up on everything. And then you looked up at me and asked a question no weapon should ever ask. She remembered. Will you be my father? And I said yes, he added, before I even knew it. She reached up and took his hand. No more questions. Just the road ahead. But deep beneath the surface of the planet, something else was waking. Something that had been waiting for her. And not everything that waits to help. ChatGPT said, the rain didn't touch them. It fell hard all around, cold drops slicing through the ash-filled wind, but the strange dome of energy around Z and Rain shimmered faintly, keeping them dry as they walked. Her doing, not his. She didn't speak while it was active. She said it took focus. He let her be. The mountain path was steep and broken. Once, long ago, this trail had been carved by machines, a supply route to an old alien science station. Now it was cracked open by time and war. Nature wanted it back. So did something else. They reached the top by dusk. The sky was heavy, bruised, purple with storm clouds. Below them, built into the side of the next cliff, was a hidden complex. Part military, part research facility. It hummed faintly, even from here. Still powered. Still alive. Rain narrowed his eyes. I know this place, he muttered. Z turned. You've been here? No, he said. But I was supposed to die here. He didn't explain. She didn't ask. They moved silently down toward the side entrance, a half-collapsed tunnel barely tall enough for Rain to squeeze through. Once inside, his flashlight flickered over ancient walls covered in strange carvings. Not just alien, mixed, human scripts woven between symbols older than history. Something had been buried here before the war, before humans even reached the PD. Stars. Z stopped suddenly. They brought me here once, she said, before I escaped. They made me touch something. A machine. It didn't like them, but it listened to me. Rain felt his skin go cold. Why? I don't know, she said. But it called me child, like it remembered me. They moved deeper. Rain held his rifle close, senses sharp. Every sound echoed strangely. The silence wasn't empty, it was waiting. At the heart of the facility, they found it. A huge room, circular, filled with cables like roots and lights like stars. In the center, a platform. A pulse of blue energy throbbed slowly like a sleeping heart. Z stepped forward. It's part of the core mind, she whispered. A node. Just one, but enough. Rain reached for her. Z, wait. Too late. She touched the pulse. The lights flared. And the voice came. You have returned. You are not complete. Z's eyes glowed bright. Her feet lifted from the ground. Rain rushed to pull her back, but a blast of energy knocked him away. Then footsteps behind him. He rolled, gun ready, stopped. Her. The woman who stood there wasn't in armor, but Rain knew danger when he saw it. She walked slowly, like she belonged in this place. Hello, Rain, she said. He raised the gun. You're supposed to be dead. I was, she said. Then I got smarter. Z floated higher. The pulse quickened. The voice repeated. You are not complete. The woman smiled. Because we split her in two. Rain blinked. What? There was. Too much power for one body. We made a second host. Buried it deeper. She's only half. Rain stepped between her and Z. You're not taking her. I'm not here to take her, the woman said. I'm here to offer her what you can't, the truth. Z slowly came back down, her glow fading. She looked between them. She's lying, Rain said. Z looked at him, but said nothing. And that silence cut deeper than any weapon. The woman turned to go. When she's ready, she'll come to me. You can't protect her from what she is. Rain didn't lower his gun until she was gone. Z sat on the edge of the platform, her voice soft. Is it true? Rain crouched beside her. I don't know. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Then stay, she whispered. Until we find out. I'm not going anywhere, he said. But he didn't sleep that night, because something in her eyes had changed. And he knew, deep down, that this was the beginning of the end. The stars were gone, not hidden, gone. Blotted out by the massive shape now drifting into orbit above Zora, a black mass that moved like a shadow with purpose. No lights, no signal, just presence. And every sense of Rain had went dead the moment it appeared. Z saw it first. She didn't point. She didn't speak. She simply stopped walking, stood still on the cliff edge, and looked up. Rain came beside her and followed her gaze. It was worse than he feared. That's not a ship, he said. No, Z whispered. It's it. She didn't have to say the name. The core mind had arrived. They had no more time. They moved fast through the forest edge, heading for the last human outpost, an old command base buried beneath the eastern ridge. Rain knew the codes. He'd trained here long before the war turned into something else. Inside, they found chaos. The command room was still active, but half the crew were gone. The rest were staring at screens showing the black mass in orbit. One man turned. "Rain? We thought you were dead." "Yeah, that makes two of us," Rain said, pushing forward. "I need a secure channel, global." The officer hesitated, then stepped aside. Rain keyed the mic. His voice echoed through every station still listening. "This is Commander Rain. I'm alive. And I'm with her, the child you've all been chasing, but you were wrong about her." Z stood behind him, silent, glowing faintly. "She's not a weapon," Rain continued. "She's a warning. And the thing she was meant to connect to is already here. You can try to stop it, or you can listen to her." There was silence. Then, "We're already out of time." A tech officer shouted. The core mind had begun. Deploying probes. Black orbs falling like rain, each carrying a piece of its will. They didn't attack. They learned. What did they want? Someone asked. Z stepped forward. To merge. Rain turned. With who? She looked directly at him. With everything. With me. No, he said instantly. You're not giving yourself to it. I have to, she said. It will keep coming. It doesn't hate us, Rain. It doesn't even care. It's just doing what it was built to do. Connect, consume, continue. He shook his head. There has to be another way. There isn't, she said, but I can choose how it ends. Outside, alarm screamed. Drones swarmed the skies, not attacking, just surrounding. Watching. Z walked into the center of the command room and raised her hand. The lights flickered. Screens changed. A new voice came through. Child of origin. Access accepted. Everyone froze. Z turned slowly, her voice calm. It's giving us a choice. It can take me. Or it can take everything. Rain stepped forward, angry now. Why does it have to take? Because that's how it survives, she said. Unless I show it another way. A long silence followed. Then, Rain did something no one expected. He took off his weapon belt, dropped it on the ground, and stood beside her. Then show it. Her hand reached for his. Their palms touched. And for a moment, everything went still. Then light. A blast of pure white energy shot through the room, into the sky, piercing the clouds, reaching the shadow above. It didn't strike. It didn't burn. It offered. A heartbeat later, the black mass stopped moving, and the stars came back. Z collapsed. Rain caught her. She was breathing, barely. It worked, she whispered. It's listening. Then her eyes closed. Rain held her close, surrounded by silence, but not death, not yet. ChatGPT said, it began with a breath, slow, shallow, fragile. Z lay in a recovery pod deep beneath the Earth's surface, far from Zora, far from war. The lights above her pulsed in rhythm with her heart, slower now, but steady. Rain sat beside her, unmoving, eyes locked on the glass. He hadn't spoken in hours. Outside the chamber, screens showed a silent sky. No black shadow, no probes, no threat. The core mind had vanished, not destroyed, not defeated, changed. Rain didn't fully understand what Z had done. No one did. Not the scientists who now watched her nervously from behind walls of data. Not the command generals who wanted answers but were too afraid to ask. All they knew was this. The girl they once called a weapon had spoken to a god. And it had listened. The door behind him slid open. Still asleep? A quiet voice asked. Rain didn't turn. She's resting, not asleep. I can tell. The woman stepped in, a new medic. Young, nervous. She set down a report on the table and hesitated. You know, she said softly, people are calling her the Peace Burn. Rain said nothing. She saved the planet, the medic added. Maybe more than that. But you saved her. Now he looked up. No, he said. She saved me. The medic left. Silence returned. Then a sound, faint, a tap on the glass. His eyes snapped to it. Z's fingers moved slowly. Her eyes opened, tired, but clear. He was on his feet in an instant, hand pressed to the glass. The pod hissed, opened. She coughed once, then sat up. He caught her before she fell. You came back, he said. Her voice was a whisper. I told you I would. He helped her out. Her feet touched the floor like she hadn't stood in years. Is it gone? She asked. No, he said. Just sleeping, like you were. She nodded slowly. They asked if I'd turn you in, Rain said. Give you up to some research team. Let them test your blood, your brain. She tilted her head. What did you say? I said, he answered. She's not yours, she's mine. Z smiled. Just a little. Can we leave now? She asked. Yeah, he said. We can go anywhere you want. She reached up, took his hand. Somewhere with trees, she said, and no loud voices. You're thinking of a farm, Rain said. She thought. For a moment. What's a farm? He laughed. I'll show you. They walked out together, no guards, no questions. Just a hallway, a doorway, and a world outside waiting to begin again. Later that evening, as they rode the quiet transport west, Z sat with her head against the window, watching the stars come out one by one. Rain leaned back, arms crossed, eyes closed. She spoke without looking at him. You stayed. I told you I would. She was quiet a moment. Then, softly, Are you still my father? He turned to her. I always was. And for the first time in what felt like 1,000 years, Z slept peacefully. The universe, for now, did the same.